Good afternoon, good evening, good night, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you might be. Welcome once again to the exhibition of the Artisan Guild Halls, hosted by none other than Garls and Siller of Clan Toreador. It is a new night, and the Guild Hall of the Artisans is once again bustling with activity, both canine and human alike. The humans, mostly security. All the artisans and apprentices and administrators and journeymen have all gone home for the evening, not wanting to risk the curfew, the wrath of the local military. But in stark contrast to their humane counterparts, the Canaanites of this city once again head out of their havens into the night to gather at the guild halls to see what once more this exhibition has to offer. Rumor being tonight that the old Protean of the Toreador, the current Prince of Bira, is set to make a brief visit to check up on her clan and celebrate, well, join in the festivities of the arts. There is also word that the prince is also set to arrive. This, of course, being a less prestigious event than an actual Elysium, but still one worth engaging in. Paying respect, or maybe just having a look around. And of course, many of the who's who of canine society is here regardless. After all, it's a chance to get together and gossip, and who can really turn that down? And that is where we begin our scene for anyone who has not who was not here last night. This is not Elysium, but the rules of Elysium do apply. This also includes no weapons on your possessions, so any weapons you possess will be taken from you at the entrance. They'll be stored away. They'll be given to you when you leave. Nothing will. All the guards here are just doing a job, and they're not privy to what's exactly going on here tonight. But yes, feel free to enter at your leisure, as the Toreador clan is, as well as several Cappadocians, a Ventru, a Bruja, even the Seneschal and a local Ravnos are all in the big grand hall where most of the, or pretty much all of the exhibitions are on display. Or all of the art pieces. Although those with a keen ear can hear movement upstairs, most likely Canice having their own little conversations in private rooms. Yes. Everybody please introduce yourselves.
All right. Madeline has gotten here quite early, at the earliest convenience. And she's going to enter. She's going to, bow and just pay her respects as she enters, as she did last night. But she is going to find Giles as soon as possible. And yeah, this is the first thing she's going to do. She's going to find Giles and try to talk to him.
Yeah. You make your way to the guild hall, getting past any guards, any military skulking around.
Yeah.
Pretty much, the guild hall at the outside looks. There's no one outside. All the security's on the inside. So you open the door. The front door's unlocked. Yeah. Any weapons you ever taken off you, and you're
She's
free
not armed.
to. Yeah. In which case, yeah, you're free to go around as you wish, and you see Giles. Uh,
Does he look more like business as usual, or does he look a bit more on edge?
he looks as usual.
Hmm.
He's like saying shoot, shoot to this masked man. Masked man just goes, no.
And she will go up, bow very deeply, or curtsy very deeply to him.
Yeah. As the masked man walks past, you can just hear him just saying, "Oh, bloody humorless twat."
Good Giles. Please accept my humblest apology for my behavior last night. He says
Yes,
nothing,
well, I wasn't exactly thrilled with what I'd heard.
but I assume you understand my and Lady Irene's concerns when she told you certain things.
He he blinks once.
She just
I
smiles.
don't believe it justifies what was considered, but perhaps there is a way you can win back my trust.
Say it, and it shall be yours, if it is within my power to give you.
There's a moment of silence as she offered him a little bit more than he was expecting. Well, I am very pleased that you are so committed. Perhaps it is something we shall discuss later. There are a few details that I should mull over.
Of course. And
I would
let us,
never have you do anything particularly reckless after all. The inconvenience was so minor.
well, that is good. And I would hate for it to take attention away from what should be, well, which deserves the attention. Let us hope that it does not overshadow this night as well.
Let us hope. I am confident.
Well, I hope to have another very good evening in your company. And she smiles. And anyone else, feel free to introduce yourself.
Setite's going to setite on in, because that is totally my verb of choice now.
Okay. Yeah. Is there anyone you kind of walk up to in the room, or?
He just wants to make a quick mental note. Tablet is gone. Isn't Tablet gone? Tablet is gone.
Tablet is gone. Yes. So there's a bunch of different displays up this evening. There is the portrait of Beatrice is still up.
Mm-hmm.
That is still there. Takes up a good portion of the wall. Kind of takes up 2/3 of the wall on the far side of the room. Really big landscape artistry. Looks like it must have taken weeks, if not months, to complete. On a small table that those old books once were, there are now manuscripts instead. Kind of parchment manuscript. There is hung up on the wall to the left a stained glass window, a large stained glass window. Looks like it's a project for one of the cathedrals in the city, or rather the one. Maybe one of the better off churches. Maybe the church that exists in the Guildhalls, in the Guildhalls district. There is a church there. That is quite well looked after. So it could be that. And then on the other wall, or rather on a table. It's not. It's not. It wouldn't be on the wall. It would be on a table. But again, like it's not. No, it's not a table. It's like a glass cabinet. It's like a fairly long glass cabinet. There is a weapon, a sword, a very ornate looking sword. This looks like it is from. Looks like it came from someone of royal bearing, like the person who like it looks ceremonial, and obviously is impeccably well crafted. Looks as if it was wielded by a monarch of some sort. European, not an Arabic monarch, European monarch. It's clearly an assailing. It's a long sword, or an arming sword to be more accurate.
He's going to briefly walk over, and because he liked the books yesterday, so he's going to look in the manuscript to see what language it's in and if he can read it.
Hebrew.
He cannot read Hebrew. He can read many languages, but he cannot read Hebrew. So he'll look over them. He'll denote the fact that it is probably a very beautifully written copy of the Torah or something like that before he'll put it back down. You know, kind of. He is clearly very used to touching old books. Who all of importance or interest did you say was in the room? There's Giles himself. There's the Seneschal. There's Luftig, who's apparently mesmerized by life.
So you've got this woman who's in heavy armor, although she is unarmed. Just seems to be wandering around. Her face looks exceedingly blank. Like it's like she's completely devoid of any empathy or emotion. You have Giles and this masked man who is now walking separately from him, who appears to be striking a conversation with this lovely young lady, who appears to be a bit more taken by him than Giles was. They appear to be having a friendly discussion on the portrait of Vitae. You then have these two. I'm not sure if you've met either of these people.
I have not, in fact.
Okay, both are very pale. Some Canaanites are taking pains to appear human, others are not. These two clearly aren't.
Mm-hmm.
This woman clearly is.
Does she have hectochromia?
I mean, did a child have hectochromia? I don't think so.
Well, no, because the picture in question does. Their eyes are different colors.
Yeah, no, ignore that.
Okay.
um, and you do have the seneschal, who's just stroking his beard, looking at the weapon. You also have this man, looks a weird, who's a weird combination of affable and shady.
In that case, Soladrine will walk. He never properly met his host yesterday, which was an absolute abysmal excuse of his, abysmally done for his own manners. But he will walk to the host and he will bow, and he will say, "In all the energetic discussions of the young yesterday, my friend, I never properly did manage to introduce myself to you. A pleasure. I wish to thank you for being so forward-thinking, provide such a lovely diversion on these otherwise cold and lonely evenings."
You flatter me, thank you. I can only hope the evening lives up to the highest standards of everybody involved.
He will extend his hand to him and he will say, "Where are my terrible manners once again? Salhadrin, Nahal Naldroma. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Lord Giles."
A pleasure to meet you as well, Master Soladrin. I noticed from last evening that you appear to have something of an academic bent. Given
Yes,
your
indeed.
understanding of one of last evening's points of focus.
Yes. I see that you have had it removed from this evening's gathering. Considering its providence, I have no doubt that you more than likely did well in that matter. For the record, he's being entirely mashed, as in, of course you did. Yes, this makes entire amounts of sense. There's amazing sincerity there.
Is he being sincere or is he being sarcastic, Dick, or is he actually being sincere?
He's actually being sincere because he's suddenly come to understand the thing. So he's just like, yes, this was a good idea. This was a good plan.
Well, we are trying to keep every night interesting by cycling through the many different works of my clan and various others over the years, for the many decades, centuries.
Yes, yes. I was curious. The large and rather stunning portrait of the young lady, is that your work or someone else's?
The work of the former Primogen.
She truly has exquisite taste.
Well, with any luck, you may be meeting her this evening.
I shall look forward to that, my Lord Giles. He will once again offer a bow, and he's going to bimble off into the crowd. So, if somebody else wants to do the intro thing, by all means. Bimble, bimble.
It's at this point that. Sorry, Saskia. Do you want to go first?
No, it's fine. You go ahead. I just only have 20 minutes left, but no, go ahead, please.
Go first, please.
Okay, thanks. Sorry. I feel really bad now. Yeah, Irene will walk in. This point, she does not really have anything particular that she's looking for. So she's wandering around. Will curtsy politely to Giles. to any of the other important people. She'll stop at the sword because that's one thing that she can actually do. She can read Hebrew.
Oh, cool. Please roll me intelligence occult.
Yay. Okay. Intelligence occult even. Wow. Okay. 3, 6. Which dice roll are we in actually? Sorry.
We're in 2.
We're in 2. Okay. I was still hanging around in 1. 2 successes.
Chris?
Let's see. Yeah. Oh, 2 successes for dice roller 2.
That's what I said.
What lovely poetry. Yeah, I know, but I mean, you're a slower. I can't hear you. So let me PM it to you real
Okay.
quick.
And now, as the seneschal is standing next to her, Irene will also, of course, offer a curtsy to her Primogen. But yeah, she won't like interfere with his studies. So yeah, I think anyone else can intro because Irene will be doing her
roll
reading.
your intelligence, please.
Yes. Just intelligence.
Just I think it's just intelligence.
Cool.
But you remember 20% of it for each success. If you had editing
Awesome.
memory, you wouldn't need to make the roll.
Yeah, I know, but I don't have it. Got other stuff.
You're a forgetful bee.
No, I'm sweet.
Yep, what is happening? Torvald, Margot?
Chris, can I actually spend willpower on that?
Yeah, you can.
Awesome. I will do that.
Thorvald will enter the room. He's dressed in his Romanesque style armor as before, but this is a little bit more formal than the nights previous. Across the armor, he's wearing a sash of tartan of green and blue and gold, affixed with a sword pin. He walks in. He's not carrying any weapons. He walks in and just sort of goes towards the seneschal at a distance, bows deeply, and then also he will go to Giles and bow deeply, but interfering not with either of their conversations. And then he will take a place. Once again, it seems to be somewhere in the middle, close enough to Madeline, so that she is aware of his presence, but not within her aura or her personal space or her circle at the moment. And he stands there, almost as if he's standing to attention. And he folds his arms behind his back.
Margot will arrive shortly after. She's wearing a very fine dress, something that looks like this. And she makes her way in, smiling at everybody. Her very angelic smile accompanying her outstanding beauty. And she'll, her eyes goes straight to someone she knows. That I believe Chris knows the person I'm talking about. To a certain lady she knows.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, smiling at everybody, her eyes go pretty quickly to her, and she'll well, actually, yeah, she'll go straight to her. OC, what is her name again?
Priscilla Duca.
And she'll smile. Lady Priscilla, how good it is to see you. If I was still breathing, I would say it was breathtaking.
She bows, she curtsies, and she says, "My Primogen. How lovely it is to see you again."
Yes. I would have come here sooner if I knew you were here. Now that I'm
here. Surely we must give Master Gallus more credit.
And she'll nod.
She smirks.
Yes, I must talk to him. And she'll smile. Forgive. I will be back soon. Talk to our wonderful host.
Of course. I'll be here with Master Gwyn.
And as she leaves, she does smile, a very polite smile at Gwyn, and she goes to see Giles.
Yeah, Gwyn just goes, Primogen? With like a kind of an awkward with a sort of overarching hand gesture. It's fairly jovial.
And she smiles at him, a very pleasant smile. And she goes to Giles. Giles, what a wonderful evening you have put together.
My Primogen, an absolute pleasure to have you here, and my sincerest thanks. Your praise does me far too much credit.
No. I only give praise when it is due. I see you have attracted quite an amount of good kindred here tonight. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you again. And yes, it appears that I'm most fortunate in those that have gathered. I am in good company, and there is more to follow. Lady Beatrice and the Prince of Vera are to arrive fairly shortly. He says that in a kind of lower voice. They come preparing gifts for your new position.
Oh, I am looking forward to discovering this. And she'll turn. Margot, are Irene and Madeline together?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. Okay, so she'll turn. First, she'll go to Madeline.
Before
Lady
you
Madeline.
go, Giles, we'll just say the principal is also in attendance the floor above us. I believe she does wish to speak with you at some point during the evening. So I would of course advise that you make time for Her Majesty. But by all means, enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you for coming. It's been an absolute pleasure and honor to see you here.
And she'll smile at him. And she'll then turn to Madeline. Lady Madeline.
Ah, Margot, a pleasure.
How have you been?
I have been very well, thank you.
Good to know.
Enjoying Giles's good company and exquisite taste.
Oh, I know. Isn't it wonderful? All these beautiful items we have here. Something to be grateful that time has preserved.
Is Margot looking at anything in particular? There is a there is a small table of old manuscripts chained to it. There is a stained glass window and a very ornate-looking sword. And there is also a very large landscape, sort of saying landscape portrait seems contradictory, but it is a portrait in the landscape background shape, as in horizontal rectangle, not vertical. That covers about 2/3 of the wall on the far side of the room. Appears to be painted entirely vitae. Is there any one of those she's looking at? If not, that's fine.
Oh, she does have a look at everything that traveled, and I have mentioned that that's the sort of thing she likes. She does look at the landscape.
Roll me self-control, please.
Okay.
Difficulty, let's see. I think it's just 5 for Toreador weakness.
Yes.
Oh. Two successes.
Nice, you're able to maintain your senses. I'll actually roll it for the 2 NPCs. By all means, continue conversation.
Does she recognize the kind of landscape it is, with having geography, history as a thing?
So it's a landscape. It's a landscape as in it's a horizontal rectangle, not as in it depicts a landscape. It actually depicts Lady Beatrice.
Oh, okay.
The detail, considering this appears to have been painted entirely from blood, is actually quite remarkable. You can see and sense every minor detail in the picture. Lady Beatrice appears to be reading or writing some sort of book in the picture. Not too different from the image usually used to show her kind of on a sort of relaxed setting. Semi-nude, like she's covered by a blanket, and she appears to be reading or writing into some sort of book with a fairly innocent curiosity on her face. Do you want to roll me perception awareness? It's the
Uh,
standard
okay.
diff.
Perception awareness. Let me see how much I have in that.
As you kind of gaze into the picture, you begin to understand it. It reaches out to you in a way that almost feels unnatural.
2 successes.
Okay. One sec. I'll PM you something.
This time, fashionably late, Hakeem will walk in and smile at those that he knows and continues to view the artwork. Hopefully, it'll not be as festive as it was last time. Smiling at people that recognize him.
As Margot is talking to Madeline, she'll notice that Thorwald gets a little bit closer. Silently, for the moment, as they're having a conversation, she'll just see him bow deeply.
And they gaze and smile. And continue to busy himself with the artwork.
Yep, this time.
He seems to be accompanied by one of his ghouls. Seems to, showing him something nice. Sort of like an escort.
Cool. Yep, there's a stained glass window on the left side of the room. On the right side, there is a table with a manuscript chained to it. It's not the same as it's put on parchment though. It's not the old books from before.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a glass cabinet with a very very ornate looking sword in it. Looks like it came from some sort of Western royal family from some sort of monarchy in the past, or maybe even in the recent past. The portrait of the Beatrice remains on the far end.
Mm-hmm. We'll just sort of take everything in and, just being a seeing what happens.
So I was doing something better when Margot sees Thorvald getting closer. She'll smile at him. And Thorvald, how are you today? How are you tonight?
Primogen, Pacino Rosa. Pleasure as always. He bows again. I am well, thank you.
Sure.
Patrina
Good to hear.
Rosa, Patrina Rosa means beautiful rose in Latin.
Sorry, what language?
Latin.
Latin. Yes, she knows Latin, so she'll smile. I did not know you spoke Latin.
It is my mother tongue, Primogen.
Oh. Perhaps we shall share conversations in Latin in the future.
If it would be at your pleasure.
Of course. And she'll smile. And then she'll look at the rest of the artwork. She probably goes to the sword next.
And I roll my self-control again.
Toreador. Dang it, Toreador, an art thing.
Chris, can we roll intelligence academics history in order to identify the sword or any of the markings on it?
Yes. You'll gain some information.
Okay.
Surprisingly, not that much, which may in of itself raise some questions. but you'll be able to request some information.
We actually got 2 successes on that roll. And she'll also do. Can we roll something to know where this sword is from or something?
Yeah, intelligence academics.
Okay.
2 successes.
It's Iberian. That's about it. It's made of an Iberian styling. It's like,
Whoa.
oh, cool.
Wrong. I
Excalibur.
put it in your chat. Well, putting it in the wrong place. I messaged it to Chris. No, that's not where I want to put it.
You don't put it there. Irene's like, oh my god, it's Excalibur.
It's pretty.
It's pretty.
1 success.
Margot, much like Saladrin, you're able to identify it as Iberian in styling or origin.
Okay.
But he will say. Oh, sorry, continue, Chris.
Yeah, there's not too much to identify the sword with. Like, there's a lot of glitz and glamour to it. But it's kind of hard to point from who exactly wielded it or where it came from.
Saladrin will say, kind of publicly as he gets to the sword, he'll look it up and down. He'll blink, his eyes narrowing to look at it, and he will say a quote from a very famous Islamic poet at the time called Ibrahim Samala, who wrote about 50 years previously. It felt like kissing the sword. I felt like kissing the sword because in their glimmer removed me your smile. Fascinating. I would guess, he'd say, looking it up and down, more than likely. At this point in time, it's the year 12. What, Chris?
1206.
So currently, Spain is split between the Umayyads and the Asturs.
Yep. It's a mess.
Cool.
Hence the somber reconquista.
Yep. He will look and he will say, I see. I have no doubt then that this sword more than likely comes from the Visigothic royal family of Asturs. Fascinating that it's possessed here. I'm curious exactly how it came to be, but an exquisite blade nonetheless.
Giles kind of walks on over. That weapon is one of my more prized possessions. I actually acquired it in Milan, funnily enough. Although the maker was very much connected to the royal line you speak of. A very old Bruja created that weapon for me. A master artisan he was. I have the utmost respect for the gentleman. Unfortunately, about 4 or so decades ago, I had heard he passed away tragically in the chaos of papal states. It took a lot of work to earn that weapon. From what I hear, he put all his passion and power into it.
However, Lord Giles, if you contemplate the work of a craftsman, woven steel, and folded gold. The passion of the clan of the passionate given form. In many ways, he can never die, because it is you possess a piece of him here. He wound and twisted and hammered his passion into the sword that still lives. So it is a fragment of him remains.
Which is why I very much hope he approves of me showing it to all of you today. Magnificent work. The only tragedy being that it outlived its own creator. But I suppose that is the fate of all artworks. Legacies in and of themselves. As there is silent mourning for the unnamed dead Bruja. Such respect. I'm proud of you all.
In this silence, Thorvald takes the time to approach the seneschal. He will wait patiently for the seneschal to. He watches to see if the seneschal is writing away, and if he's writing away, he will not interrupt. He'll
Funnily
stand.
enough, the Seneschal. Sorry.
No, sorry, no, you go ahead.
I was going to say, the Seneschal, funnily enough, was actually just standing near Giles and Saladrin as he was actually inspecting the weapon himself, but he doesn't say anything to the two. He just kind of, there's that brief look at them, as in, like, oh, new people are here, sort of thing. Like, acknowledging their presence, but not really saying anything, just kind of calmly listening to the words of Giles and Saladrin.
He will approach and he'll say, "Honoured Seneschal, a word, if I may."
He turns towards you, kind of gives you a quick look up and down. You're probably as tall as him, if not slightly taller. He says, "Of course. What is it that you need of me?" He'll begin kind of gently strolling off in a separate direction from the group.
Silver will follow, 2 paces behind, and wait until they get to a place where they're away from the others, and he say, "I do not know if you know me, sir. I am Thorvald, Charter of Gaia Radio Crassus, Clan Gangrel."
I know of you, yes.
I understand that there are many things to be attended to this evening, but I have a small but very important request to make of the prince, and I would be indebted if you would extend my wish to her.
I am possessed of my duties even on such occasions as these. What is it that you require of the prince?
It is a matter of domain, and as much as I understand my place in the court, unfortunately this matter can no longer continue to be ignored.
What is it that is so urgent pertaining to domain? Has there been a breach of some kind that I'm not aware of?
It's not exactly, no. It concerns an area that is in the crossroads between much of the La Sombra domain. and it has become a focus point for reckless behaviour, which I seek to offer a remedy for. Of course, it is only the prince that can do this particular bidding of my request.
Reckless, what in particular do you mean?
I have mortals there under my care. Mortals that belong to me. And other Canaanites in the city have been less than subtly, in some cases, feeding there. Which, although the silence has not been broken yet, it threatens. I've not broached this with the sheriff, as I understand he has much more pressing matters to attend to. At the moment, there are priorities of war.
I don't see if there hasn't been a tradition breach why it would pertain to him at all. If I may be so blunt.
He bows. It is a personal matter, my senator.
I see, and I suppose in order to resolve the issue, you would wish to claim this particular area of the domain.
Not the area, just a particular building. The area is held by Clan of Sombra. How you understand have my deepest respect.
As I stated before, I'm ever possessed of my duties, so I shall pass on your request for domain to the prince. With any luck, you should hear back from her by the end of this evening.
He bows deeper this time. Not quite to his knees, but almost. And he says, "Thank you for your honouring, Seneschal." And then he will nod and walk backwards before he returns to a position in the room.
The Seneschal's eyes flatten somewhat before heading elsewhere, up the stairs. Kind of looks into the room in its whole back for a few moments before heading off. Everyone can kind of just see.
Yeah, I mean, he'd probably recognise that it is a servant that you don't turn your back on someone you respect. It's just one of those things.
In any case, he heads on out. And yes, the night continues. And at around the time Tavalda re-enters the room, probably re-engages somebody else, so a few minutes pass, probably a couple minutes. Garl strides into the center of the room. And will make an announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would, I would like to introduce the honored Prince of Bira, Lady Rosalie LeBlanc, and her child and keeper of Elysium, Lady Beatrice of Clan Toreador.
Polite applause.
Light
Polite
applause from
applause.
everybody in the room.
Are they walking? Are they walking in from a specific point?
Oh yeah, they're walking in from the front. I actually have a few servants with them.
Thorvald will like go on to one knee, just in a gesture. It doesn't last very long, but he makes sure that he's seen, but at the same time not like, here I am in the middle. But it's just like he goes onto one knee, and he'll stay there for the duration of their introduction.
As they enter, they come in with a few servants. About 2 or 3 of which appear to be carrying something in. The other simply is standing just to the left of and behind the Prince of Bira, Lady Rosalie. Well, Beatrice is quite colourful. Her skin is quite flushed. She looks quite fairly tan, and has kind of fairly bright auburn hair. These almost organically perfect features. Rosalie stands in something of contrast as she looks almost inhumanly beautiful. Her skin is just completely white. Not corpse white, almost as if she were some sort of statue. Her hair is kind of a long, flowing, silken silver, and she wears a kind of a long, flowing black noble dress to kind of contrast the color of her skin. Rosalie will just introduce herself to the court as well, Beatrice. Members of the Edescent Court, thank you for having us this evening. It is an immense pleasure to revisit the court that I was once so close to and held so dear to my heart. And I am both saddened by hearing of recent events and know that it wounds me as deeply to hear of as all of you. But I am also heartened to see this city facing down its struggles. Moved by its plight. And to retake what was so... Hey, you can rob session empathy if you want.
Yeah, that stinks a little bit. It seems like she's feeding
Totally.
everybody a line.
To retake what was so cruelly from it. And to build a better future for itself. A better court, a better prince, better people. But I am very pleased to see are all here today. And in recognition of these new beginnings, I offer a gift to the new primogen of my clan in honor of her station, as does my dearest child.
And Margot will stand, go towards them. Sorry, what did you say the name of the city where she's prince is?
Yeah.
So I didn't get that.
Bira, it is Bira. It is to the west of Odessa.
It is an honor to receive that gift, my dear Prince of Bira. And she'll bow. And then get up. How big is the gift?
So when you say that, the gift is plopped on the ground. It is covered by a big ass blanket.
And around how big is it?
It's quite big. It's taller than you, like significantly taller than you. Like I would say, about a head and a half taller.
Okay.
And
Hey, Chris, I'm just going to make a curious note, and I'm going to step behind someone who's taller than I am. I'm half expecting it to blow up.
Yeah, this smells catty. Gonna move.
this smells catty. The building is gonna burn down. This is right.
And sorry, let me roll the from before the empathy. Nope. I get once everywhere.
For this, I'm actually gonna have her make a manipulation performance check instead.
That was for before.
She is engaging in oratory, so.
And that was for before, and I'll roll for this time.
I know she doesn't have so we'll just be subterfuge. Yeah, she's got okay dice for it. She's got good dice for it. She's got really good dice for it. Any rational person would see this as an insane dice pool, but still. She only gets one success.
Okay, and I'll roll for that one because that was for before when she was making her speech. That just took a while. And for that one, she's got 1 to 3 success.
Oh wait! What was the initial roll for then?
Sorry, no, I took a while. The initial one was for when she was making her first speech for like Odessa and blah blah, saying she was grateful to see Odessa again, and it was in her heart and stuff.
It's all one roll. Like it's not. Yeah.
Okay, then yeah.
It's all part of the same thing. It's not.
So everyone else sees it except for Margot.
So
yeah, Margot is clearly because Margot's being given gifts. Like, of course she cares.
Oh my god, this is going to end sadly.
Of
course, like
God bless you, tall ass Lufty. Bless you, sir.
And she's so like people. I mean. So empathy isn't a lie detector because there's literally an Auspex power for that.
Oh no! But we can. It wasn't to detect if a lie, but you can definitely when people give grandiose speeches like that, it's usually
it's definitely rehearsed. It's a rehearsed speech. It's I'm trying to see how many people. Okay, people got a fair amount of successes. So
Does she believe what she's saying? Because I can say someone's beautiful and not mean it. Like,
Yeah. She. Parts of it come off as more genuine than others. It's a bit strange. When she talks about better people, she definitely means that part, you think. She is quite taken by the tragedies that have struck the domain. But you're not so sure whether she cares so much about the new administration. But when she references new people, you get the feeling that she's talking about individuals in particular, not the court.
yeah, that's that political gooning right there.
Yeah.
But
Told you like she's giving a present, but
It's almost like she's schmoozing.
more like
Strokes
gooning.
Yes. It is Beatrice that approaches you first. And she offers you
A steak.
Oh, one second. How's she gonna? She actually offers you an envelope, which obviously has something inside it.
Yeah, she'll smile. Say thank you.
My gift to you, Primogen.
Thank you. And she'll smile. You're
I
going
hope
to
you garner as much joy from reading my creation as I had in creating it.
And she'll nod and she'll smile. And yes, she says thank you. And she'll opens it.
Oh, it's a poem. Roll self-control.
Damn it again!
Many
Let me
times.
find.
I love Toreador.
I think this is why the difficulty is low, because you have to roll it so damn much.
damn,
2 successes.
It's diff 5. You got 5 successes.
5 successes.
Yeah, it's actually yeah, I will PM it to you. You go. And yeah, it is a remarkably beautiful poem. Covering many of the traditional Toreador themes of love and tragedy. So it is actually somewhat stereotypical, but does so in a way that kind of combines the best of every idea involved, despite the fact that none of them are new. It is not something original, rather than it is the best of what already exists. And could be argued in doing so creates something new in and of itself.
And she'll smile.
The prince waits for you to finish.
How beautiful. I shall treasure this. Thank you. And she'll very carefully fold it as it was back in the end, and very carefully take the envelope. And then she'll regain herself.
Your graciousness humbles me, Primogen. She curtsies quite this time much more deeply before you. Seeing that you've enjoyed her work somewhat elates her quite visibly. And Primogen steps forward. Not Primogen, Prince. You're the Primogen.
And she'll mention to you the other thing that's laying on the floor, you said, right?
The other thing is it's completely covered by a massive blanket / tarp. Prince just says, my child has ever been a purveyor and master of artworks on the edge of our time, and one that may travel great distances without such burden. Unfortunately, as you can see, she kind of smirks. My works are somewhat more static.
I'm sure they are just as beautiful.
But no, its journey was well worth it. And she will pull it off.
Roll initiative, what?
Oh my god, it's a Vosged! Rawr.
Wouldn't be surprised.
Music conspiracy. The first among the Toreador anti-tribute. Vosged just goes, surprise! No, no, it is a sculpture seemingly of yourself, but even more beautiful.
Yeah, that's not possible.
It's questionable as to whether she has given you the greatest gift of all time or whether she's showing you up hardcore.
Yeah.
But yeah, please roll self-control again. I'm actually also going to say +1 difficulty for this.
Okay.
So it's difficulty 6. And yes, everyone can see the marvelous marble sculpture of Margot.
1.
It's weird when you look at it because it is like so surreal in that is this, like, you can see there's almost, it's like there's this, it's not the fact there's a statue, like it looks different from Margot in that it looks more than her.
What's it made of?
Oh, marble.
Ah, white marble, black marble, purple marble, pink marble.
White marble.
So what stands at this point?
Okay, you barely succeed to hold off your ravenous cravings to touch this glorious, glorious effigy of yourself. It's astounding work of art that is almost devouring your very soul before you, but you hold yourself in. All the other Toreadors should probably roll at +1 difficulty as well. I'm just gonna have mine do that.
Oh dear.
Giles will spend a willpower because he's the host and really doesn't want to embarrass himself.
Oh, who's that?
That's Luftig.
Yes.
Who's going to start migrating away from Celadrine towards the statue?
No, my protection.
This guy gets to roll a diff5 because he's honestly unaffected by the glory. He's a piece of shit. And
Who
succeeds
does?
because he's a piece of shit. Nothing.
Wait, who gets to? I hope you didn't say Mask Man.
No. Let's see. This other person.
Leafnik, stop making out with the statue. It's embarrassing.
Okay, that person succeeds.
That may actually happen.
I think that's actually it for my characters. Because Garth spent a willpower and as such cannot fail. So yeah,
Damn it, portable cover, get back here.
Are you going
yeah,
to stop
your
it?
portable cover is walking towards the statue. What the hell? He's just abandoning you.
Stay here and die for me, damn it!
Leaf is the worst. You had one job. You literally can't even be fucking fodder. You can't even do that right.
Stand here and watch. Marvel out what the hell is happening.
You can't even sit still and die. Anyway. Yes. So Leaf begins to migrate with that weird-ass look on his face towards the marble sculpture. As there is probably light clapping because reasons. Yeah. It's beautiful, yes.
Solidrin intends to file this picture under his away in his mind under self-masturbatory content. Aggrandized, sweet mother of God. Continue.
Welcome to the Toreador social scene.
Pretty much.
Pretty much every vampire social scene.
Lol.
And yes.
Whoa. Thorvald definitely has the look of whoa. I mean, he's not.
Welcome to the social scene of every noble family ever. Just every social scene.
He doesn't do what Liftig does, because Liftig's like, I'm going up there. Thorvald has stood and he takes a couple of steps forward. He's got his mouth open a bit. It's like as if he's gonna say something, but he doesn't, just because, like, what's there to say at the moment?
Most importantly, how does Margot respond? Because these gifts are for her.
She smiles looking at it. Yeah, she'll smile looking at it. I am honored to receive such a gift. Thank you very much. Let's say I am. This equals the beauty of the sun. Something that we so long to see again.
So, this is a real question I should ask.
Yes.
Does Margot appreciate the creation of something that looks exactly like her, just more beautiful? Or is it something that aggravates her?
Her first reaction is definitely, this is beautiful, this is amazing. After a few minutes, she'll probably be like, wait. So it will probably take her a while, given her how she is, who she is. And you know her flaw. So yeah, but her first reaction is definitely. Yeah, it's definitely. This is beautiful.
Okay, 5 minutes. You'll make a frenzy check.
Margaret's across the room chatting. All of a sudden, she's like, "That bitch!"
If
Yes.
it helps, in about 5 minutes' time, we'll probably have a blood hunt on after Ludwig is done humping the statue. It's fine.
Yes.
That's
Rosie-
those 4 dots in socializing paying off.
This is how I picture Leafdig looking at the statue.
Rosalie just says, "The breath of your heart knows no bounds, Primogen. Thank you."
Thank you.
Please, my apologies for interrupting the evening. Please enjoy yourselves, and I'd like to give my most earnest and genuine gratitude to Master Giles for hosting this evening's events, and to Primogen Margot for seeing to the clan in my stead. And she'll begin lightly clapping for Margot and Giles. Yay, yeah.
Such shade.
Golf
He claps.
Yeah.
You want claps?
But
Everyone claps.
she'll bow, kind of taking in the claps.
Thor does that because he's seen this shit before. I don't particularly mean this particular statue that's incorrect, but he's seen how this can go sour.
Yes, the evening continues as normal, as Rosalie will have the servants just take the statue to the sculpture to the center of the room, and Beatrice will begin mingling with other Canaanites as her gift has been received and kept by the Primogen.
I'm still waiting on that frenzy check to see if she goes and headbutts her own statue.
Give it 2.5 minutes.
Thor is going to approach Madeline.
Is Rosalie not Rosalie, but her child by herself? Is she socializing or is she next to Mommy Dearest?
Oh, Beatrice is socializing with other Canaanites.
I will walk up to Beatrice.
Same.
Thor just comes to Madeline's ear, and he says simply in Latin. He says, "Paramore, the repeat of time unfolding before us."
She turns, smiles. We can continue such things later. Should we not enjoy ourselves while we are here?
We should. However, as much as we should be enjoying ourselves, there is things at work. I am at work.
I wonder if you can let that work go at any time, but apparently not. I will be talking with some of the others, but I would have a word with you, but we can speak of that later.
Oh yes, a
Of
word.
course.
Not now, pressing matters, but I just want you to know that I'm here.
I know.
He smiles. He doesn't touch her in it. He withdraws from her aura again. Makes his way over to Margot and mutes.
I'll just roll for my self-control now. Can I use willpower?
Yeah.
Yes,
But
she'll use
because it is,
willpower. This is important. She'll use. Still need to roll, or is it just?
I don't think you'll need to roll if you spend willpower.
Yeah, she'll use willpower.
Okay. You spend a willpower point to not frenzy on that bitch. Or the statue. Leaf Deep would never live it down. Yes. Anyone can make a perception empathy check on Margot, by the way.
Progress.
Resisting frenzy is not all. It's kind of a hard thing to keep subtle.
Right, I'm spending willpower.
Keep in mind, everybody, track your willpower.
In your blue book.
Okay, so everyone can tell Margot looks really agitated, and for those with 3 successes, quite angry, almost as if she was about to frenzy. And Madeleine, if you're rather the high amount of successes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you understand her. She was just about to frenzy, and then you kind of give it some thought, and you kind of remember the look on her face before. She must have come to some sort of realization that caused the frenzy to trigger.
Thorvald doesn't touch Margot, but he says quietly, so that she can hear him. He says, "Imogen, would you walk with me a moment?"
She'll smile. Yes, if you wish.
He will walk with her, slightly behind her, as before, just leading her slightly away from the throng of the crowd. Not out of the room. They're still in the Elysium, or Mock Elysium, whatever. But he does lead her away, and he will just look at her, and he's like, "Something troubles you. I feel it."
I am just unsure of her. Sorry, looking for the word. Like what she wanted to do by her intention, by sending.
I understand. If there is anything you need of me to do to ease your discomfort, then you only need to ask.
I shall smile and nod. Thank you. It shall be fine for now.
I would relish a chance to be introduced to Lady Beatrice, to compliment her on her wonderful painting.
If you wish, come. I shall go back towards Lady Beatrice. Lady Beatrice. Chris, you're muted.
Hello.
He's just been
Beatrice didn't say that. Pardon?
Say she'll go back after she comes back. She goes to Lady Beatrice with Thorvald. Lady Beatrice.
Oh, she looks a little bit surprised, yet also delighted. And curtsies before you. Primogen.
This here is someone that I have grown to like. His name is Thorvald. He wanted me to present him to you.
Thorvald will bow deeply, and he says, Thorvald, Charter of Gaia Aurelia Crassus, Primogen of Clan Gangrel, your servant, my lady.
Oh my, such a storied lineage. You must be quite proud.
I am.
A pleasure to meet you, Torvald.
I just wish to take a moment to compliment you on your painting. It is unlike anything I've seen before.
What painting are you referring to? You're talking about the Vitae painting?
Yes.
That was made by Rosalie. No, it's a portrait of Beatrice. She didn't actually make it.
Oh, that I misunderstood that. In which case he will say, I want to take a moment to compliment you for your clan's many achievements and this evening's display of beauty and art.
Oh, right. Well, thank you. You flatter me too much.
I have seen the painting. He sort of indicates with his fingers. I am no man of art, but I can appreciate true beauty, as your Honor Primogen will likely inform you.
Shall not, and Margaret just nods. Indeed.
Well, I could never take credit for my sire's accomplishment. She has always been such a magnificent creator. I can only say I pale in comparison to her.
I am a man who understands how it is to be honoured by your sire and her wondrous work. But I knew I saw the painting last eve, and I was saying to myself, I must meet the artist and subject at some time, and it is fortuitous that those two things have met.
Oh, yes, I guess fate does fate does favor you then.
It does. I will take up no more of your moments, but
it was a pleasure to speak with you. If you ever feel the wish to approach me again, feel free. I shall be here for a few nights.
I would relish
If you wish
that.
to talk.
Yes. I'll let you enjoy the soirees, the ladies, and he'll bow to them both and retreat.
Assuming that Hakeem is not being, shrugged, he will approach her. Lady Beatrice, that is.
Yeah. She'll turn to face her new conversation now.
I wanted to express my joy and my absolute honor it is to see one of your earlier creations. It was moving. I was quite surprised when it was told to me that it was one of your earlier works.
She actually looks a little bit surprised as her fingers kind of cover her mouth. Not really her hand, literally kind of the ends of her fingers.
Mhm.
As she just says, "Oh, girls brought that up. Oh, I'm ever so embarrassed. I'm so sorry.
No, I was. It's beautiful. It was passionate.
She rubs her hands a bit nervously and says, "Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I was less experienced back then. Honestly, I'm amazed. I can't understand what girl sees in it, but I suppose it must be worth something if it too has attracted yourself."
Well, I like to think that things from the past often shape who we are now. If it was so becoming then, your works now must be something of a marvel.
I say you robbed me of words.
My name is Hakeem Al-Shaya of Clan Asamites. It is an honor to meet you.
An honor to meet you, Master Hakim. Or would you prefer Al-Shaya?
Hakeem is fine. You do me the honor of an audience. I assume we can speak openly, if not for social greetings.
I'd be delighted, thank you.
And this is my compatriot and arts savant. He'll point to Evan's character.
The Snake Man.
Snake Man.
Anyone in
The Snake Man. The Solitude will do that very kind of. His head will kind of bob in a very serpentine manner, and he'll look her up and down, and he will say, "I have seen your face before, perhaps in a dream." And he will offer a bow.
Yes, they are, May. She will curtsy. A pleasure to meet you. Did Hakim state his name? Because we just defaulted to Evan's character, I think.
I didn't want to mispronounce his name because I know that can be irksome.
Okay, we'll just say Hakim gets it right.
Yeah.
A pleasure to meet you, Sir Audrey.
He will look at her in the eyes, and he'll smile as he'll say, "It is funny, is it not, how it is that with such a face as yours, a form as you possess, that you can be such a muse to others, that simply because you draw breath, art can fall from their fingertips in such a way as to inspire others. By merest the concept of your presence, such beauty is born, beauty for the world to see." Fascinating, no?
Very much so, although I do believe that to be the fundamental premise of art itself. She's got a completion subterfuge, which she gets 7 successes, 2 successes. Actually, has 7 dice to it.
What was she rolling for?
Subterfuge.
Not today, Satan.
Not today, Satan.
No, trying to do that bullshit.
See if we can see through the subterfuge. Might not.
Not to
I
this
see
thing.
right
Yes,
through
we
the
see through your bullshit.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Give me your successes!
So prior to all this, she was quite, we're dealing with Hakeem, and forward, she's quite open, expressive, lively, easy to understand. When dealing with Saladrin, you can see she exercises a measure of restraint. She becomes a little bit harder to read.
Hashtag that's a tight life.
Yeah. But yeah, my guy has 4 too. She sees through that bullshit.
Apparently, so it should be noted she's not dealing with you aggressively, but she's a lot more restrained in how she approaches you and talks to you.
His eyes will kind of, when I say his eyes flash, he flashes with realization, not what happens when the other time when Solidrin's eyes flash and he activates disciplines. And then sad times. But he will smile and he will say, after all, my Lady Beatrice, do you not believe that when inspired by those who are truly something, not just beautiful, but a beauty that can change an age, that anything is possible?
I firmly believe that it is the cultural works of individuals, artwork, and beyond the limited breadth of the term that incites the rise and fall of whole nations, although I personally do not concern myself with such things. I do not wish to endeavour to become an arbitrator for all society. After all, I believe that would rob people of their own decisions.
He smiles and the forked tongue flicks out. Flick, 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 flick. But did Troy not burn because of Helen?
So, Sergeant, don't tease the young lady. He just looks and just chuckles.
If it were to be the lives of many, or one great treasure, no matter how beautiful, I would always see the lives of the many as far more important.
Chris, I had the successes yesterday to get the feel of this person from the painting. She is the great humanist, isn't she?
Well. Oh
Like,
no.
you understand that humanity is quite high.
He will smile and he will smile. He will smile. Oh my god, I'm going to hell, but it's going to be a fun ride down, kids. He will smile and he will say, ah yes, however, consider this, honored lady, child of the Prince of is it Bursa?
Bira.
Bira. Child of the Prince of Bira, life will always come as long as Adam finds Eve. Life will always be reborn as long as those can find a semblance of love or carnal desire. True beauty, on the other hand, true artistry, truth, in essence, once lost may never be found again. So do not so lightly compare the value of life, which is plentiful, to the value of truth, which is scarce.
So salty.
You know what? Hakeem blushes and goes to find Rosalie because this is enough.
He's like, no bully, Beatrice, no bully. Hey, Mom, I'm telling you.
So Latry,
I'm so sorry, but I'm gonna have to do a thing.
Beatrice will just say, but it is the many that discover these truths to begin with. It is they that
Sorry.
create beauty. It is from the many that these individuals emerge.
Ah, yes. And he will just drop the mic at this point as he says, "Then I shall pray that you, who may yet yield truth to the world, shall never find your Paris, so that Agamemnon must surely follow." And he will bow.
man. So Latry is showing so much shade. It's like he's using optinumbration.
From out of nowhere, he was going to start drifting towards Beatrice, much the way that Luftig did towards the statue.
But that because I'm falling asleep here. Margot will say I unfortunately have to meet someone, but I would like to thank everyone here for attending and thank and she'll look to Beatrice and what's the prince's name? The other prince. The Prince of Bira.
Rosalie.
I would like to thank Beatrice and Prince Rosalie for their gifts, and of course, thank Giles for hosting this. And she'll bow. Thank you, everyone. And she'll leave.
Do you take your statue with you?
Picks it up. La, 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 la.
I mean, you have the strength.
Yeah, but then there's also, humanity breach and shit. There's also a masquerade breach and shit.
How unprivileged-like to be carrying your own shit. This is what ghouls are for.
Yeah.
Get your servants to carry your shit.
She'll probably get servants or organize it for it to be carried.
Oh, it's fine. Giles will just have the freaking... Rosalie and Giles will just have their servants do it. It's fine.
I got it.
I got it. You do have to let go once we're home,
specifically
right?
instructs them to pick it up by the pedestal.
Hmm?
Rosalie explicitly instructs them to pick it up by the pedestal.
Okay.
Not to touch the actual sculpture.
Didn't Leaf already stroke it?
No, Leaf Deek did not do that.
Sorry, that was a joke.
Yeah, it was a joke. Leaf Deek could not be hit right now if he did that.
Anyways, yeah, she'll leave with people carrying her statue. Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Thor will just he steps slightly again, and he'll just say, "Many apologies, Lady Beatrice, Prince Rosalie." Some Harangue have no manner. But let us not let it spoil the evening. He smiles gently, warmly.
No. He just bowed, he didn't leave.
Hakeem walked away to find Rosalie because there's something I actually wanted to talk about. Things are getting hot and heavy, and it's starting to offend my ears.
Beatrice just says, Oh no, I take no offense. It is simply the sensitivities of philosophy can vary from individual to individual. But I
You are correct.
understand that every one of us walks a different path in life. Although I am quite firm in my own, I understand that there are those who disagree, and they are free to do so. So long as they approach me in peace and compassion, I would not take any offense.
He just Thorvald looks like yeah.
She says this quite earnestly with you, like,
He
yeah.
he does agree. He will he agrees, but doesn't agree. He's just like, yeah, fucking bullshit detector over 9,000. For Solodrin, but he's just like, yes, yes, my lady, of course.
I'm gonna have a roll perception with you on you. Just so she gets successes.
Hakeem will bow in front of the prince, giving her proper due respect for her station.
She will curtsy.
Sorry, Chris,
Good
I didn't quite hear you. What did you say about your role?
She's just making a perception of the
Oh.
roll.
No problem.
golly. He will bow in front of the prince and smile. I was troubled once you decided to leave Edessa. I was much looking forward to seeing what you would do, being that our first meeting was so tumultuous.
Yes, it is with a heavy heart that I left. But it was at the request of several whom I trusted a great deal. As such, I knew I had an obligation to leave in Tentabira.
Then I am highly favored to see that you have decided to come back for this evening. Um, though I would not assume that you were having any issues. Um, there is something I wish to discuss with you, if you have the time to talk of more serious matters.
Of course, I have all night.
To assume that being a woman of your station would have time to talk to someone such as me. I didn't want to assume. But there is something of a side project that I am currently under, and I do believe that it would be a boon to your city if you would hear my proposal.
Of course.
Um, the courier guild that I am currently making great strides to see its flourishment. A lot of more day-to-day tasks that can seem rather tiresome and cumbersome. And I'll be more than happy to offer my services to make sure that business coming through and around Bera continues smoothly. Not to assume that's not already.
The proposal interests me most greatly, Hickey. If I may give some time to mull it over, however. Oh, did you hear that? Hello? Hello?
I can hear you a little bit, but I'm catching every other word.
Okay, it might just be my PC.
Okay.
She just says, your offer interests me most greatly. Hakeem, however, if I may have some time to mull it over, I shall contact you by the next evening, rest assured.
I just wanted to make sure that the gracious prince has everything at her disposal to rule her kingdom with a firm and gracious hand.
And you have my most sincere gratitude for the offer. I shall discuss the matter with my peers, and by tomorrow evening we'll have an answer for you.
And I
If
also,
that is
of course,
acceptable.
yes, my friends. I just wanted to also express my sincere fondness of the portrait of your dear sweet child. To see someone with such a skilled hand, it's moving in such turbulent times that we're currently facing here at Odessa. It was a breath of fresh air.
I wish to share her in a way that only we could understand.
The message was received with the power and majesty that it was given. I thank you. And he will bow deeply.
Thank you, dear Hakeem. Your praise is most gracious.
And he will bow, not turn his back on the prince because that's rude. And he'll wait for her to decide that the conversation is over, and then once she's a safe distance, then he will go on about his business, return to his school.
She'll simply curtsy and be on her merry way.
Chris, is it possible to get upstairs, or is it off limits?
You can go upstairs. There's only one room that's off limits.
Okay.
Which is explicitly
he will bimble upstairs.
It's obvious, so.
Mm-hmm. He basically he wanted a brief word with the seneschal before he goes home, so he will bimble upstairs. Bimble.
Okay, there's a bunch of. So basically, it's a corridor that goes in one big rectangle around the whole building. There's a bunch of private rooms. Over a dozen, actually.
You haven't gotten far before you are approached, well, from behind by Madeline, who seems to be just wanting to enjoy the view and the walk with you.
He will bow respectfully to Madeline as he's making his way upstairs. Bow, bow, bow.
Well, I must commend you. It was a good trick in last night. But flaunting and such tricks when you are cheating is considered, well, I suppose it is only fair.
He will contemplate the words for a moment and he'll say, cheating? In what manner?
Well, you knew of the inscription enough. Well, perhaps not that particular one, but you knew of the stone tablets before You came.
No, I didn't.
Convincing. Oh,
He will look at you and he will say, "No, I didn't." You can roll perk empathy on him if you'd like.
I will do that, and I will roll something first. I will roll something else. That is manipulation subterfuge with 3 rolls, 3 successes, and that is 2 successes on him.
He's not going to. He's not going to oppose it. He's being genuinely honest. He had no idea about the tablets yesterday.
Yeah.
Before he came yesterday.
She just looks at him. Oh, come now, please. You are.
Allow me to.
Well,
he will raise a finger and he will say,
"You must know."
"Allow me to be brisk with you, lady. Allow me to be brisk and honest with you, Lady Madeline. Everything I knew, I read from the tablet itself. It wasn't difficult. It's simply ancient Babylonian. However, the answers that I received as to the infernalist nature of the item, more than likely as it pertained to the infernalist, I believe she's called Mary the Black. Yes, that's the one I suspected to be connected to. That was the entirety based upon the reactions, so extreme as they were, of your clanmate. She was easy to read."
I seem that unlikely. You have been here for a long time. Surely your clanmate must have divulged some information of this.
Gouffron? No.
Nothing at all?
Hang on, because I have to clarify. Hey, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Do the Setites know about evil infernalist tablets?
Not that you know of, not as a whole, no.
Okay. He will shake his head. Not that I have been made aware of, no. Master Gouffron has clearly kept it very close to his chest.
It would seem so. It would.
Well, actually, yeah, you probably haven't heard about the incident of Gouffron, unless you've been told.
I have not, so assume no.
It wasn't. It's like, oh, a neonate had a weird thing that happened. It's it's not really that relevant to your life. So
he will blink and he will say, "I will be honest with you, Lady Matt, and I'm very rarely honest, so this is indeed an event. For the record, when he's talking to you, he drops all of the kind of I am a secret mystic-y kind of, the kind of the act he puts on for most people, and he stands up entirely straight, and he looks at you in a very kind of authoritative way, and he says, "I will be frank with you in this particular matter. I loathe the concept of infernalism. I loathe the concept of people who make such dark deals with entities beyond their ken. I am a man who has faith. Admittedly, it's faith that most people don't understand. However, it is still anathema to what I believe. So, I am an enemy of those individuals who would they themselves seek to benefit and garner from the trade or traffic or indeed artifice of the damned. I find it interesting, however, that it comes into the hands of Clan Toreador, in this particular instance, a clan who I'm led to understand from my own sources has a history of this meddlesome little predicament. So, you may always, as I sense from, once again, Lady... is it Elena or Elena? Or what is her name?
Irene.
Irene?
Irene, thank you. As I sense from I sense from Lady Irene's attitude towards the concept and her extreme reactions towards it, that she is actively trying to combat whatever it is that this series of tablets represents. I would also sense that you, as a fellow member of her clan, would probably be in debt, would probably aid her in such a concept. I know that if my clan were in such need, I would do the same. So you may count me in as an ally in anything that has it so that whoever would seek to use such powers are under boot heel.
That is very good to know. She smiles. It seems quite genuine when she looks at you. I have not heard anything from your clanmate Gouffron of this. It is something that well, festers in my mind. I would not budge in on a clan's purview and its business, especially not your clan. I understand that you prefer your secrecy or privacy, depending on your point of view. But this is something that, as I understand from you, which I appreciate very much, we should spare very few things to make certain that there are no hidden infernalists in our midst.
Before I continue in my rather pleasant and leisurely walk up the stairs, I have a question for you, as it was not something I was made aware of. How was Master Gouffron connected to these tablets, as it's not something
I do not know for certain, but I believe he took one for himself.
That was an out-of-character noise as his brain clicks into gear.
Wait, who
He
took
will
one?
not. Apparently, Gouffron took one of the tablets.
I don't think that's true.
Well, that's what I've been told, so
That's
whether it's true or
that's
not.
what Madeline suspects. She says she doesn't know, but she suspects it.
You'll need to clarify that or make an immediate subterfuge check, because what you said was explicitly not true and implicates someone in a lethal, fatal way. So just keep that in mind.
Well, she suspects it, and
Okay, would you like to clarify the statement then with the phrase, I suspect he may have?
okay, she will say, well, certain objects I suspect that might be a place. It was taken from a place that was perhaps connected. I suspect that there might have been another of these stone tablets in the place where he was. And the problem is that I do not know exactly what happened. There is very, very little information. And with such very little information, well, humans, the kind become suspicious. You know how we become. If we certainly have very little suspicion, but no concrete answers in such serious matters.
There's a nod of the head. He will say,
I will not deny that I might be paranoid, but who can honestly among us say that we are not paranoid in some ways?
very well then. I will look into this matter. But as I said, Lady Madeline, in all things, I will help you crush this infestation. Because only then can the souls of those who have been led astray be brought into the true light.
That is very calming to hear. Please, have a very good evening.
May the blessings of he who sits most on high walk with you ever, Mistress Madeline. He continues to bimble up the stairs.
Yeah.
Bimble.
Yeah, and Madeline just smiles very politely, and she will roll a subterfuge for that smile because she does not agree. Because she's not too genuine when she smiles at you. Yeah, Madeline will leave.
Re the empathy check that Lady Beatrice made.
I see no empathy check.
Lady Beatrice made an empathy check against Thorwald.
Oh, Madeline did?
No, Lady Beatrice.
Oh, yeah.
She got 2 successes, I believe.
3. She has a specialty.
It's quite clear that Thorwald said Pradengo, which means at worst foreigner. So it's clear that he doesn't really. It's fairly obvious that he doesn't like Saladin. But his demeanor is towards her is submissive, calm, friendly, open. He agrees with her. He defers to her wisdom on this matter.
Okay. In which case, Lady Beatrice just kind of tilts her head. Oh, bloody hell, sorry about that. Lady Beatrice tilts her head. And she just says, "You appear troubled, dear Torvald. What is ever the matter?"
Oh, perhaps at length, my lady, we can discuss the world's troubles, but not tonight. I'm afraid I have a. I'm waiting on an engagement. However, I will take you up on your kind offer, and see you during your time in the city. And we can
Yes, I can often be found at the church not too far away from here, within the guild halls.
He smiles at them.
It is where I used to reside.
A church. May I ask your all the churches divination? Or do I know that Irish?
It is the one with the stained glass windows and the rather colourful garden. You won't miss it.
I know it well.
It has a chapel. My grandchild works there quite fervently.
It was in the similar gardens where I first encountered your lady Primogen for the first time. It is a place I'm familiar with. I will enjoy conversing with you.
Oh my, how fortuitous. Well then, I look forward to our next meeting, dear Torvald, but I've taken up far too much of your time. Please enjoy the rest of your evening.
I am at work, but I will look forward to our future. He will just bow again, and he'll withdraw from her and sort of go, not to the staircase, but he'll just sort of hang around.
Yeah, so if someone wants to meet with a certain someone, you got a lot of doors to go through, or you could just knock on the big one, which is off limits.
Well, he's not. He's going to wait for his signal, because he's not going to just stride up there and bang on the door. It's just completely against his character.
Oh no, I apologise. I was referring to Saladrin because he was already upstairs and
Oh yes,
looking for a meeting as
sorry,
well.
yeah.
That's cool. I mean, it's valid for both of you, to be honest. So,
Um, He's probably just going to walk up to the door that's. He's going to assume that the off limits door is an office, so he's going to walk up and knock on the door.
Yeah, you knock on a door and this man opens it and you can see this woman inside.
Oh, fuck. Soladrin will bow. Deeply. As a matter of fact, I'm very tempted to throw etiquette into the bow. I feel like I should.
Ah,
Yes.
fuck! It's the prince! Run!
Run!
Jumps out
Run
window.
as you can! Either that, or as I have spoken to MA about, what is the answer to all questions?
Typhonic Moor is not the answer to this situation. I guarantee you in like 10 ways to Sunday. And Sunday is only one way.
Dang.
It's one day away. In fact, it's Sunday right now. So, you know, we're already there.
That's a lot of ways to fit in between then and now.
I mean, that's just how bad it can get.
My apologies, honoured Seneschal. If I'd known that her ladyship the prince was here, I would not have disturbed you.
The Seneschal goes to speak, then just kind of makes a look towards the prince. And she just kind of leans in a chair to kind of get a better gaze at you.
Snake gonna snake?
It's quite alright if either of us were expecting total seclusion, I can guarantee we would have gone. Elsa, what appears to be the matter? Is there something you wish to speak of, to me or the Seneschal? Seneschal just kind of looks back at you, as in like, yep. No. Yes. Everybody come back. Where has everybody gone?
I'm right here. Thor, yeah, like Thor does make his way to the stairs, but he's not actually going up in at the moment.
Saladrin, where did you go? Saladrin obfuscated. Yes. More obfuscate.
He took you seriously when you're like, oh no, the prince, run!
Oh shit.
Oh my gosh, there's a person in your picture.
Yes.
Oh.
It's probably Chimera.
Oh.
Gotta go fast. I mean, I don't see any places to avoid the sun.
No, me either. It's not a good place to be.
Oh wait, no, there's like a tiny little blip on the hill. There's like a tiny blip on one of the hills. Maybe that'd be a place.
There we go. Sorry, my internet's been really choppy for no apparent reason.
The prince basically just said, it's quite alright if we were looking for total seclusion, we would have probably gone elsewhere. Is there something you wanted to speak about to either me or the Seneschal? And she just kind of looks at you rather bluntly and lackadaisically.
As a matter of fact, both of you, if possible. What I was going to say to the honoured Lord Seneschal, I would have asked, no doubt, to be communicated to you, Your Highness, so 2 birds, 1 stone.
Take a seat.
He will slither on in and take a seat.
The Seneschal just kind of closes the door and takes a seat to the side of the Seneschal.
So, he will raise his hands and he'll hold them out in front of him and he'll say, the city is a chessboard. And even now, players put pieces upon them. The problem is that we don't know where it is certain pieces are moving, where it is certain moves are being made, until yesterday, when I identified something that might be of pertinent interest to both of you.
Oh?
Ah, yes. So, As it is now, the city is still plagued by a number of entities, unpleasant as they may be. Number of them are, shall we say, darker looking than others, who wish to bring ruin and devastation for masters locked within the abyss, within whatever hells they conceive to be in some way worth the violation of, to speak with said masters. And yesterday I had quite the revelation when I found in this very establishment one of the artifacts that they covet, apparently.
Yes, we have been, or rather, I have been informed by the Lady Irene and the host of this evening. The individual who was in possession of it has been detained for the time being, although he's been very cooperative so far.
He had something, but I don't think he understood the value of what he had, or rather, what it points to, he'll say. These entities. Now, allow me to phrase it like this. The princes, it's public knowledge they're Ventru, right?
Oh, yeah, the Princess of Entry, yeah.
He'll say. Actually, is there anything physically on the desk, like any items or anything like that?
No,
Because I take it somebody was sitting behind the desk.
Now, I'm ruining your metaphor and symbology.
Damn you! He'll say, Your Highness, consider the Bruja in Carthage. When it was they saw the sails on the horizon, and they knew that the honored clan of kings had come to pay them a visit and come to cast them down for their vile infernalism. Consider this. So, this they did. However, in much a similar way, from my interpretation of the reading of the tablet, you see, from what I have read, what was the name of the city again, Chris? The one that was mentioned in the tablet?
Ebla.
Ebla. When it was that the Eblanese were placed under siege, they did not worry. They did not have fear, despite the fact an army circled them, an army ringed them. They were surrounded. Now, I pondered this and I said, why would the young lady who wrote the tablet not fear the outside, not fear the darkness that encroached even then upon her home, unless she had more powerful friends within Ebla, powerful entities who would protect Ebla? I assume you're following along with this line of logic.
You believe Ebla to be a den of infernalists?
No,
and where
not anymore.
not
I,
anymore, but it is.
I, however, believe what our friends here in Edessa are looking for was first brought forth in Ebla, first birthed there, first summoned there, first saw the light of the moon and sun there. That's why they require these tablets. They're assembling a greater whole, an Eblanese whole, something written there in the hand of this woman. I think that that's what they're attempting to do. Something summoned in when Babylon was still young, and maybe now reignited or being brought back. The Eblanese, shall we say, the Eblanese hypocrisy or heresy reborn.
In other words, they want a bunch of stone tablets to open a portal to hell. Understood.
I would make the argument, Your Highness, that a small expedition funded via the prince to go to Ibla with some of their most powerful masters of the art of auspex to see what is truly there to see would yield many answers. We may be able to cut off the infernalists if we have knowledge of exactly what it is they need or the paths that they themselves have taken. After all, Azura Master or insert name of evil Zoroastrian entity here, would have been worshipped at the point in time. Perhaps they seek to open a gateway to his hell. Anything is possible, but if we go to Ibla, answers may be found.
Perhaps, but currently I've got my handful dealing with two separate infernalist threats here. While I appreciate the idea, and it's definitely something to consider for the near future, it's not something I'd be willing to do now, considering the situation on the ground here. Even if we were to deal with the threat in Ebler, it wouldn't stop the threat here. And
However,
this is the city I'm accountable for.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you. There was a bit of lag there. However, I do not sense there is a threat in Ibla. Ibla is ruins now, from what I remember. It is ash and memory. I sense that there are answers that lie there that may enable you to deal with the threat. Because as of now, we strike at shadows. If you will forgive the pun on a seneschal, we do not know where it is these entities lurk or what their plan is. We do not know how it is they organize themselves, or even where it is they intend to strike, what it is they intend to find out or to know. In Ibla, if this is the place where this was first birthed, if it is the place where the genesis of this all began, we may be able to find the answers we need in order to combat the threat here. Because as of now, he'll shrug, they are winning the game because we do not know where they will next move upon the board that is Edessa.
Perhaps, but diverting resources there is a risk in and of itself. And besides, ancient beings, I find, love their tombs.
As a member of the clan of tombs, I can attest to this.
After
He
all,
will say,
are we not ash and memory? It is not to say that I oppose the idea, just that I don't find it particularly tenable right now. I would prefer to clean out my own house before tending to another. Irrespective of the benefit it might accrue me now.
Then perhaps he will raise a finger and he will say, perhaps two birds can be struck with a single stone. You do not openly need to fund an expedition. You merely need to give your tacit support to one, so it is a group may set out in order to see it through. You lose nothing. You do not need to spend a single coin. The only thing that may be of placed at risk are a handful of Canaanites who themselves are willing to take the risk, and you merely give your tacit approval to the venture.
Those handful of Canaanites would need to be of no value to the domain. I couldn't afford to send someone, for example, such as the sheriff, or his hounds off on this course, or any of his associates right now. They're currently dealing with the infernalist threat here, so it'd need to be, well, to put it bluntly and rather cruelly, but alas, disposable individuals who are of little, if any, value to this domain, those who have yet to contribute anything meaningful.
He'll smile, and you'll see the points of his teeth, the points of his fangs, and he'll say, "Does the city lack for neonates?"
But many of them are an integral part of its ecosystem, and many of them serve me or the interests of this city in some meaningful way.
I understand. As I have said, it is something that would cost you nothing, and it would need to be a relatively small group. I am quite happy to lead said small group, as I have at least some experience in what it is that we may face, and though I like to think that I am valuable, I am also a risk that is easily replaced.
Your honesty does you credit.
I am but a humble servant of a greater whole, Your Highness.
Fair. Well, in regards to your hypotheses regarding Ebola, your story largely matches up with our other sources, so I'm inclined to very much trust you on that particular note. When it comes to launching an expedition towards Ebola, that is something I will take a degree of time to consider.
But of course, he will stand up and he'll bow once again very deeply to the sheriff and to the prince, and he will say, "Oh yes, there's just one last thing I can think of. If indeed they choose to link themselves to ancient Babylon, where it was the towers, where it was the gardens hung, and where it was the Achaemenids ruled, I would think that they would try to find an area in the city that represented themselves in that manner. If they choose to follow the old ways, the ways of Zoroaster and the ways of Akron, it's Akronahai is the name of the dark one. Thank you, Evan. You can use your brain. Perhaps they would try to create a sanctum, a place holy to that dark being. So trying to track where it is the objects and papers and texts are flowing, well, that might be a way in order to find them. At least a possibility.
I will take note of your recommendations.
Thank you, Your Highness. That's all I ever ask, is to be of service. He will then say, "May I be excused in that case? The hour grows late, and I have so many things to do before the morrow."
Of course, you're free to take your leave. Good evening, Saladrin.
I shall hope it is that he who sits most on high lights each step you take, Your Highness. And you, of course, honored Seneschal. And he will bow once again deeply before he will back his little ass out of the room.
As you do, when the door opens, you find that Thorvald's holding it open.
He will quite happily walk out the door, like snake got a snake.
He slithers off into the night.
So this other.
Thorvald turns, but his head is low. Forgive me, but may I have a very brief interlude with yourself?
You may as well take the empty seat.
He will come in. He will bow. Thorvald, Charter of Gaia Radia Crassus, neonative clan Gangle.
I know, I deal with her on a bi-nightly basis.
He doesn't smile, but he sits down. I understand that there is little time and few words left in the space between us. Did the Honored Seneschal tell you of my request?
You wish for a domain, yes.
Yes. Well, it is a matter of a building, not the streets that cover it. The Roost.
I know that place.
And many humans that I care for reside there, and I am their protector. It has become an epicenter of, as I'm sure Honored Seneschal mentioned, teetering on the edge of reckless behaviour. As a protector, I have a duty. And a man needs a place to lay his head.
So you want the Roost as your domain?
Yes, my prince.
Seems fairly simple.
I'm not a man of many words, but I can offer you only repeat my oath to you. My service is yours. I am your servant. And my endeavours are to serve this city in any way I am possible until my last breath on this earth.
Well, that is wonderful to hear. Normally, I would charge a significant number of boons. However, since you are only claiming a building, we can reduce that cost to 2 mages and leave it at that.
He bows. I accept. Thank you for your graciousness.
Then I believe our business is concluded. Have a good evening.
He will bow again deeply. Bow to the seneschal, and then he will leave. OOC, I assume that paperwork will be signed to that effect.
The domain map will be updated, yeah.
In which case, Thorwald will leave and leave this domain entirely.
And I believe with that we can end our scene. Fortunately, Hewart not really having a great deal of time to express herself, and Leafdy expressing himself far too vigorously on a marble statue. But
Oh, Luftig.
we love him. But yeah, as the second night of the exhibition comes to the end, comes to an end, we can end our scene there. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. We'll see you all next time.